Hey, what is up, everybody? Todd here with the Week 7 matchup report. Um, just trying to get this out for the very first time ever. I kind of created this macro on Excel that all you basically do is take all the information from the Football Outsiders and paste it in here, hit this Organize Data button. It's going to sort all these teams into their particular data like that and spit out team rankings. It's going to pull out your team rankings in here and then also get them into the weekly matchups and whatnot in there. So it's going to spit it into this little template and it goes through and finds all these things. So what we're going to do is look at our Week 7 matchups and just kind of go from there and look at the main slate, basically. These guys are on bye, so we can ignore that. And then Chicago Rams are Monday night, so we can ignore that one for now. And New York Giants and Philly there. So what this little program does, basically, it pits each particular lineup for Pittsburgh. You can see they're number one in the defensive pass rush, which means they're really good at generating pressure. But guess what? Tennessee's also very good at pass protection. So that might not be something that's like a strong suit for Tennessee or Pittsburgh. Normally, if the other opponent is pretty weak at those things. So basically on the left side, we have the pass rush stuff. And then on the right side, we have the run options. So let's just take a peek. We'll go through one by one in all these games and kind of highlight some plays that we could potentially get. And as we can see here, defensive pass rush for Pittsburgh pretty good. Tennessee's pass blocking pretty good. They did just lose Taylor Lewan though, so Pittsburgh might be able to get after the quarterback there, but that's not that. I think that's a wash as far as that's concerned. But if we look at here, Tennessee 31st in the adjusted sack rate, so their pass rush defense, they don't generate a whole lot of pressure, which I think means that Pittsburgh, with their excellent pass protection here, top 6 in the league, I think they're going to have some time to throw the ball, which for me probably means a very, very good day for those deep A-dot targets. I would maybe fade Claypool in this one. I know he's been really hot lately, but Deontay Johnson hasn't been playing, and I think Claypool kind of stepped up and showed that he can take a larger work role when he's not there. But I think Deontay Johnson coming back, he's going to have that chemistry with Roethlisberger, and I would target something with Deontay Johnson in these lineups this week due to this matchup. I think he's going to have a lot of time, and Deontay Johnson is just good, and I think Deontay Johnson will definitely see a score in this one, if not quite a few yards. So look for him. And then you kind of look at the running stuff. Offensive run blocking for Pittsburgh is kind of middle of the road. Tennessee against the run, middle of the road. And then run blocking offense for Tennessee is 5th, but Pittsburgh's 1st against the run. So it's kind of a wash there. I don't expect Derrick Henry to have a very good game. If he does anything, maybe he falls into the end zone on a short score this week. And over here you can see the total is a 51-point total, which was pretty good. The underdog actually is Pittsburgh in this one, and Tennessee's the favorite with a implied total of 26, where Pittsburgh's at 25. I could see this hitting the over just because I think Pittsburgh's actually going to have a pretty good game. I see Pittsburgh in this particular matchup getting out to a strong lead just because of this pass protection thing. I think Pittsburgh's going to bump out to a big lead. And then Tennessee is a good enough team where I think they'll score some later touchdowns and some points there, but ultimately I think Pittsburgh's going to win this one. And it will be close, but probably not as close as the box score seemed at the very end. I think Pittsburgh's going to get out to a big lead there, and then Tennessee will have to play some catch up. So on the Tennessee side, I would probably fade Derrick Henry in this. I don't think they're going to be up. And then looking at the Tennessee side, it's probably going to be a little bit better of a game for the pass options, I guess, in Tennessee. So I'd be looking at Tannehill having probably a decent game. And then as far as the weapons with A.J. Brown back, it seems like he's pretty good. So you could look at A.J. Brown. Dallas, Washington here, 45-point Vegas line there, they say Washington's the underdog, and Dallas is the favorite there. So 24-point implied total for Dallas. I'm not exactly sure why they're favored in this. Same with the Pittsburgh game. I don't know why Pittsburgh was not favored in that game. I think this is going to be a big thing there. But Dallas, Washington, we look at this. Do we have anything that we can kind of highlight? Well, Washington pass protection on the offense is pretty bad. Dallas, they don't really generate a whole lot of pressure either, so that's kind of a wash. Washington pass rush, top 3, an adjusted sack rate. Dallas 11th. But for me, Dallas just lost some more offensive linemen. I think their pass protection is going to be a lot worse. So Washington, that might be a defense that you'd be able to stream this week. Look for them probably to have quite a few pressures in this game, at least with Andy Dalton throwing. You never know what kind of turnovers and stuff that you're going to have in that game. Washington would be a defense that I'd like to target this week, just because I don't think Dallas is going to be able to move the ball. Their offensive line, with these numbers anyway, in the offensive pass protection and run blocking, probably not going to be that good. Zach Martin went down last week, and I just see Washington. I don't know why they're not favored in this one. I think Washington's just going to smash Dallas with Andy Dalton there, and their offensive line looking poor. Washington's actually pretty good at stopping the opposing wide receivers. They're one of the best in the league as far as like the amount of receiving yards giving up. So combine that with the pass rush. I think Washington's going to smash in this. I would take Washington in this. I would take Pittsburgh in this one as well, with the over in the Pittsburgh-Tennessee game, just because I think Pittsburgh's going to jump out to such a big lead. But I would say Washington's probably going to win this one. Not sure whether they're underdog there. The run blocking side, as I said, Dallas pretty good run blocking, but they did lose their offensive line, and Washington's not that bad against the run. And then the defensive side, Dallas not very good against the run, and Washington also not very good at blocking against the run. But I do think Washington's going to dominate on defense in this game, which probably means quite a few opportunities for the running back there in Washington, Gibson. I think Gibson probably have a pretty solid game with a decent workload. I could see him breaking 100 yards, and Dallas's defense is that bad that he's probably going to break 100 yards and score a touchdown this game. On the offensive side, they have Kyle Allen at quarterback. I guess if you could stream somebody, he is a streamable option. I don't see him having like a humongous ceiling, but Dallas's defense is that bad, and I don't think Dallas's secondary can hang with Terry McLaurin. So we'll look at Terry McLaurin having a good game, and probably Gibson as well. Logan Thomas might be another option there too, because I think he's going to get a lot of targets from Kyle Allen. So that's that game. Buffalo and the Jets, this one I'm kind of excited about. 46-point total, which isn't the greatest, but an 18-point implied total for the Jets. I don't know how they're going to score 18, and then 28 for Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to have a lot of scoring opportunities in this game against the Jets. Just looking at the matchups here, Jets pass protection, not very good, 26, but Buffalo is not that great against. They're just kind of middle of the road for the pass rush. Don't expect anything too crazy there. Maybe interception or a few sacks there. Nothing crazy, but Buffalo pass protection 8th. Jets against there. They don't generate a lot of pressure. They're in the red. Buffalo's in the green, top 8, and they're in the bottom 10. So I think Josh Allen's going to have quite a bit of time to pass the ball, which I think you're going to get the deep threat receivers having a bigger game. I think someone like Stephon Diggs should ball out in this game. I could see him having a long target and scoring with over 100 yards in this game. I think John Brown's going to miss, so Gabriel Davis would be the next man up there, and I think he could potentially score one too as well. And on the running side for Buffalo, you look at their run block, it's horrible, and the Jets are actually top 3 in the adjusted line yards. I would fade pretty much all of the Buffalo running backs in this game, even though I think they're going to be up. If they have scoring opportunities, Josh Allen's probably going to take them anyway. And That's not something that you want. I don't think they're going to be very efficient on the ground. They're splitting carries between Singletary and Zach Moss. If I'm going to start anyone in this game, it's probably Zach Moss because he's more likely to score a touchdown from in close if Josh Allen doesn't do it. So, and then on the Jet side for the run blocking 20th, Buffalo against the rush, not very good either. So that's kind of a wash. I don't know, Frank Gore over there or P. Ryan, choose your poison if you have to, but I wouldn't want to be starting anybody on the Jet side just based off of these matchups. I know the Buffalo is not very good against the slot and whatnot, but with John Brown being out, I guess on the Buffalo side, I'd be looking to start Josh Allen, and Diggs I think is a pretty good play this week. Gabriel Davis would be in play for a long bomb. Otherwise, if you really need a punt play, I guess you could do their slot receiver over there, Cole Beasley. He's really good at getting open, and if he's got time, Beasley could see 8 to 10 targets, and he's probably going to catch them all because they're low A-dot targets there. So next game, Carolina New Orleans. We got a 50-point total with Carolina as a 7-point underdog. And if we go up here, we're going to look pass protection on the offense. New Orleans pretty good, top 7. Carolina 30th against the pass rush, I guess. So they don't generate a lot of pressure. Drew Brees should have plenty of time. And it's just kind of a weird game because Michael Thomas is now kind of ruled out with his hamstring. And just recently, just a few hours ago, it was released that, God, I'm having brain farts on their wide receiver over there, but Emmanuel Sanders just came down with COVID. So you're going to be looking at Traquan Smith starting and probably their undrafted free agent out of Tennessee, Marquez Callaway. Out of those two, Traquan Smith does score quite a few touchdowns. He'll have like 2 in a game just randomly here and there. He does score quite a bit. But I would say he's probably going to garner the most attention out of any of their wide receivers. So look for him probably to have an all right day, but I would go after that Marquez Callaway. I think he could be the guy that you want to kind of own in this offense as far as any pass catchers are concerned that aren't named Alvin Kamara. For me, with all those guys out, it just screams like Kamara's going to get 8 to 10 catches this game, and he's probably going to reach the end zone with that kind of volume. And I think just New Orleans is going to be up in general against Carolina here. If we look across the board, everything's green for New Orleans. So pass protection, offense, run blocking, offense, both in the top 7. Carolina defense, bottom 10 in both of those, even bottom 3 there in the pass rush. So I think New Orleans is going to be able to impose their will on offense, and they should have a fine game there. As far as Carolina is concerned, they're not too bad against the pass protection, kind of middle of the road. Run blocking is middle of the road, but New Orleans is pretty good there. I do expect New Orleans to be up, so Mike Davis over there I think would be a fade, and then we're looking at New Orleans kind of stopping the run there, and I think being able to get after the quarterback and with their offensive pass protection kind of middle of the road, and New Orleans is pretty decent there. I would say New Orleans is in the streaming conversation for defense, and Carolina's probably going to have to throw the ball. I'm not exactly sure how aggressive they are there, but I would say if you can, you could get a long pass to DJ Moore. He's kind of got the skill to, and they're using him as more of a high A-dot guy this year versus Robbie Anderson's more of the underneath guy, which is kind of weird. They kind of flip-flop to what you expected going into this season. If New Orleans is kind of being aggressive on defense there, since it is a divisional opponent, I could see DJ Moore maybe getting a long touchdown randomly here. But for the most part, start your Kamaras, and if you need a deep throw on the pass-catching options, I guess Marquez Callaway, and maybe look for Jared Cook to step up and get a few more receptions this game and probably a touchdown against Carolina. They're just not a very good defense. Carolina side, I would be a little bit nervous starting any running backs, and then if you want to start Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, they're probably going to be all right because they're going to have to come from behind. 50-point total, not bad. Green Bay, Houston, this one I'm pretty excited for. 57-point total there, 30 for Green Bay. Houston is the underdog at 27. I would fully expect Green Bay to kind of smash in this game. It sounds like Aaron Jones might not play in this, so Jamal Williams would be a guy that you could start in daily, and I think he could win you some money. I think he's going to have a pretty good game, so if we go over to Green Bay side here, they're actually really good against the pass rush, top 6. Houston, one of the bottom teams in pass protection. Green Bay, I think, is a smash spot here for defense this week. Lots of sacks, potentially leading to some turnovers or sack fumbles. That would be a team that I'm targeting on defense along with New Orleans and maybe Washington from earlier. And let's look at our pass protection here. Green Bay pretty good. Houston pass rush is actually very good. So I think it's kind of a wash. Houston is pretty good at generating pressure, but Green Bay is pretty good at stopping it. So Aaron Rodgers probably just going to be one of those normal games where he has quite a bit of time or he scrambles and makes some deep throws to some people. And just looking at the offensive run blocking for Green Bay, top 7. Houston just terrible against the run. That's why I say start Jamal Williams if Aaron Jones doesn't play. If Aaron Jones plays, I'd be a little bit more nervous that they're going to split carries. And Jones was kind of a smash start in this spot. But if he doesn't play, I would expect Jamal Williams to have a solid game. But then they're going to lean heavily on this pass, I believe. And then you're going to look at someone like Devontae Adams just absolutely smashing. He's probably already in line for 10 targets with Aaron Jones there. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, I could see him getting 15 to 18 targets because he's got Aaron Rodgers' eye, and I think he would be an absolute smash play on this slate. As far as the Houston side, you look at their offensive pass protection, not very good. I think he's going to be under duress. Run blocking, not very good, but Green Bay's against the run isn't very good either. I could see David Johnson having an all right. He'd probably score in this game because I think they're going to have to move the ball. I think they'll have a few scoring opportunities. And then Brandon Cooks is probably more of your underneath guy. Randall Cobb, more of your underneath guy for this pass rush. They don't really target the tight ends unless they're in the end zone, so I could see Cobb and Cooks having the better of the days between the wide receivers, and then kind of a down week for Will Fuller. So that's that game. Cleveland, Cincinnati, 50.5 total from Vegas. Cincinnati's the underdog at 3 there. I do like this spot. If you look at Cincinnati, they're very bad at everything. Pass protection 31st, run blocking 29th, and then generating pressure 28th, against the run 25th. Cleveland, they're kind of middle of the pack, except for their run blocking is freaking amazing. So I could see Kareem Hunt having a monster week this week against Cincinnati, and Cleveland kind of controlling the ball a little bit. It makes me a little nervous for this 50.5 that if Cleveland's up in this, which they could be, they might just be smashing that clock down with Kareem Hunt. But Kareem Hunt isn't necessarily a bruiser either. They don't have Chubb, so they can't just run the clock. I could see, Hunt having a big role in the passing game, and then Cincinnati being able to move the ball against Cleveland like they did in the first game. So on the Cleveland side, I would be looking at Kareem Hunt. Baker Mayfield, I guess, is in play against Cincinnati. Austin Hooper, I think, was ruled out. So on the Cleveland side, as far as pass catchers are concerned, you can start your OBJ, and Landry, I think, is going to play despite an injury. But on the tight end side, Cincinnati's not very good against the tight end, and I think they have a rookie, Harrison Bryant, that could have a pretty good game against Cincinnati, especially if they're kind of getting a few scoring opportunities down near the end zone. I could see Harrison having a nice touchdown and maybe 4 or 5 catches in this game for some yards. So look for that as a deep sleeper and daily. And then on the Cincinnati side, I think they're going to have to play catch up in this game. Not sure how much, like Cleveland's going to be dominating the clock or not, but if they don't, and it's kind of back and forth with 2 roughly poor defenses, I could see Cincinnati moving the ball on Cleveland and Joe Burrow having a bigger passing game with Joe Mixon being out, You're looking at Gio Bernard maybe having a pretty good game. I don't think they're going to be able to run very well against Cleveland, just in general with Gio, but since their line is so bad. But I would say Gio is somebody that you can start. He's going to get quite a few pass catches. Don't expect like a huge ceiling game from him, but Burrow would be the one I'd be targeting because I think that's how they're going to have to move the ball in this game is through the air. So Burrow probably going to have a bigger game, and I don't know. I don't know what pass catcher in that offense really that you want to target. Boyd had a decent game against him and dropped a touchdown pass and still scored in that game. So Boyd might be somebody that you'd be looking for as your sure bet for fantasy points. And then I think both AJ Green and T. Higgins would be fine plays. T. Higgins probably has a higher ceiling, more likely to score or have the deeper passes, where AJ Green seems to be getting a lot of the 5 to 10 yard receptions in this. So I would say AJ Green probably getting more receptions. T. Higgins probably scoring opportunities would be higher. Detroit, Atlanta. This is a 55-point total game. I think there's going to be a ton of people on this because of the Minnesota-Atlanta game last week. Just everybody was on that. I think everybody's going to be on this Detroit-Atlanta game. And to be honest, I don't necessarily like Matt Patricia. I think he's one of those Bill Belichick guys that's kind of annoying to play with in fantasy. So I could see this game kind of disappointing in general. But if it doesn't and it lives up to its hype, that's going to be a fun one to have. Nothing really stands out here other than Atlanta. Adjusted line yards on the defense are pretty solid against the run. Detroit's not very good against the run. Detroit's pass rush is poor. Atlanta, middle of the road. Like I said, there's nothing like standing out here. But just kind of what I said with the Matt Patricia stuff, I think Detroit will be fine. They'll be able to move the ball in Atlanta, but they've been just not using Stafford, and that makes me nervous for this game. I think they're going to try to run the ball more, and their defense is just really poor. 27th in the pass rush, 31st in defensive adjusted line yards. So I think Atlanta's going to be able to move the ball, and Detroit, I think, is just going to try to run the ball to slow their offense down. So on the Atlanta side, I think they're going to have quite a few scoring opportunities. If somebody's going to score from the wide receiver group, I would put that on Calvin Ridley. I think Julio Jones probably has a solid game as well, but as far as scoring, that's not really his forte. I would put my money on Calvin Ridley scoring, and then maybe the tight end there, Hayden Hurst, having a decent game. On the Detroit side, I would say they're going to funnel all their passing offense to Kenny Golladay, and I just feel like they're going to try to run the ball and slow Atlanta down. That's just the Matt Patricia way. So I don't know. I would like to fade this. I think everybody's going to be on this, and I have a narrative in my mind that Patricia thinks he's smart and he's going to slow the game down and he's going to run, and they're not that good at it. But yeah, on the Detroit side, I guess you're looking at Swift and Peterson as running backs. I wouldn't necessarily want to start either of those guys. And then GPP play more than anything, I would want Stafford paired with Golladay and Hawkinson if I'm going to stack that game. Otherwise, that's kind of one that I'm looking to avoid. I think there's going to be high ownership in this, and I think this actually has a really good chance of not making the 55-point total, 29-27. I just think Matt Patricia is going to slow that game down as much as he can by running the ball and being annoying. So target this game with your own peril, but I would be avoiding that. I think everyone's going to be on it, and there's better options in all of these other games. Green Bay, Houston, all of these things, I think you're going to be able to find somebody that's going to produce better than the Atlanta guys who are going to be expensive. And then on the Detroit end, I would be doing Golladay and Hawkinson as my plays, and maybe Stafford if they actually decide to pass the ball, which I don't think they will. And then we come to the final game on the slate here. Oh wait, nope, never mind. Seattle, Arizona. I don't want to have them before. Well, there's a few games left here. Quite a few games. Whew.